Scrappin with Sheri and page 100 in the sketchbook. We are almost there, but I have been so excited about this sketch because I felt like I had the perfect pictures to go on this page. Now, when I look at it, there are several things going on. There's a background page. There's a color here, 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 where they've used the same piece of paper probably for all of those. Maybe just the back side of it, but you could use the same one for all of those. You've got these cute little ticket looking things that made me really excited. So there's a new design element we've not played with. And I'm going to be using bits and pieces from different things. I pulled the back to school texture designer paper because I needed these red curtains. So that's the back to school texture designer paper. I pulled Showtime because I wanted this black and white. It's got tiny little white dots in it that kind of look like the movie lights. On the back, it's got this film strip, which is also great. But I really like the smaller film strip, and this comes from the Adventure Park collection. So, 3 different things I've got going on here. But let's get started and see what we can do. Now, what I want to do is create the base part of the page first, and then we'll add the pictures and the design elements to it. And I decided that we're going to do the curtain as the 2 base pages. Now, let me just tell you where we're going with this, which helped decide my leanings here. This is a trip my husband and I took to visit the Lucy Desi Museum in Jamestown, New York. I loved Lucy. I watched it growing up as a child. So this museum was a real highlight for me of our last trip. And here where there's a 4x6 photo, I intend to include this brochure instead of putting a photo there. That might change as we go along. But because it had the red heart with the I Love Lucy, I felt like the red background was perfect. We're also thinking theatrics, so I felt like the curtain was a good nod to that. So maybe that'll help you when you're thinking about why I chose what I did. Now, I'm going to use this black for the stripe here, the stripes across the center, and this longer stripe here. And I'm okay with the fact that some of them are going to go sideways and some of them are going to go up and down. If you're dealing with directional paper where that's just not going to work, that could be a problem for you. But on this particular layout, I think it's fine. And what I'm looking at on this sketch is we've got a 1-inch stripe down the side. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. Before I cut these, I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And that one is a 4 3/4 by 12 inch. So 4 3/4, much wider. So it's going to take up a lot more space on our page. And then the ones through the center are 2.5 by 12. So I just need 2 2.5s. I think overall this looks like a pretty easy layout. For me, the hardest part was deciding which pictures to use. But because I'm printing my own pictures, even that was a lot easier because I could size them according to what's on the layout more. Let's get these stuck down, and then I'll show you where I'm going to use that film strip. So we're going to butt these right up against the outside edge of our papers. I love that bright red. It's just so vivid. And red is not typically a color I use a lot. But I felt like for this theatrical event, it was perfect. Now, I did go ahead and stick these down, but I do want these to go behind that. And that's not going to be a big problem. And I could measure this and get it exactly exact, but I'm not going to worry so much about that. I'm going to put it kind of down towards the bottom. I do know, according to my sketch, that these 2 photos on the bottom are going to overlap in any way. So that's not a problem for me. Now, I just need to pull up where that tape went on there and slide this little baby in. Now, if I had my 13-inch mat here, I would probably be checking it out side to side to make sure that it's all even. but I don't, and it's okay. I'll tell you, most of this page is going to be covered with photos and memorabilia anyway. So a lot of the decorative part of it is not going to show. Oh, and those stripes actually matched up pretty well too, and I didn't work on that. That was a happy little accident, as Bob Ross used to say. All right, so we've got that part. And on the sketch, it shows a tiny little strip here, a 1/4 inch strip there, here, and here. I wanted to do that a little bit differently. And I wanted to use this film strip for that. Now, here again, my film strip is going to go up and down. That doesn't bother me in the least. And it's going to be much larger than a 1/4 inch because I'm cutting one whole film strip piece. And I'm just going to line that up right against there. Now, these film strips are kind of jaggedy on this paper, so it's hard to make it exactly exact. The film strips don't line up straight up and down on the piece of paper. So that's kind of a little problem, but I'm okay with that too. Now, I'm moving that to the side because I was thinking that instead of putting the film strip along the bottom, I could use these little pieces from our bracelets, our admission bracelets, because not a lot of that is going to show anyway. And I think I'll do that. All right, so let me look at my sketch one more time. Here, they've shown a little bit of that bottom border here and here. I think it would be easy enough for me to add a little part of this here and a little part here and be fine. And I'll do the same on this other side. Now, that red doesn't show up starkly against that, but I think it's okay. So let me pull, I'm going to pull my photo trimmer for this, even though it's not a photo. And I'm just going to keep as much of this bracelet as possible. My husband always laughs at me when we come out of a museum because he knows that I'm going to reach for his bracelet pretty quickly if it has a name on it. Now, we went to several places on this trip that didn't have a name on the bracelets. It was just a little plastic band, and I don't keep those. I like things with the names. I like the memorabilia stuff. This one down. Now remember, there's photos going down here, so I don't necessarily have to cover the whole area. And several of you have told me recently you really like using memorabilia in your albums. I think it just adds a layer of authenticity to what you're doing. I think it's so much fun. So let me go ahead and stick this film strip down. Oh, I think we're about to run out of tape. Starting to pull. Now, when I put my photo on here, if it covers up this, it's not going to be a big problem, but I want parts of it sticking out so you can still see it. Go ahead and stick this one on this corner down. And just bear in mind, when I'm creating this, I also know where the photos are going to go, so it kind of helps me as I'm laying these things out because I can visualize that. Visualize. That was a word I came across the other day. I was looking for our slogan for 2025, and visualize in 2025 popped in my head after I looked at words that sort of halfway rhymed with 25. When you can start to visualize your pages, it makes them a lot easier to get them put together. And I do think that comes with practice. The more you use your products, the more you're aware of what you have and how you might use it. I do think another thin stripe of this black along the bottom of that would be pretty. Let's pull our big trimmer back out. And here's a tiny thin piece. Don't want to cut it quite a half. but a little more than 1/4. So I'm going to go to this line right here. That's just right on the edge of where our measurements start. One thing I really like about this trimmer is being able to get these little tiny precise cuts. I shouldn't have said that because as soon as I do, I'll mess one up, but I love the precision of it. This one would probably be easier to put on with repositionable tape, but I'm just using what I've got handy right now. One thing you'll notice about me, I don't spend a lot of time switching up tools and tapes. I try to use what I've got in my hands at the time. I also like to be very efficient with my scrapbooking time, and that helps me do that. Now, I think closing that in makes a big difference. I like that. So if I were going to go back and start this page over, probably one of the first things I would do is put this middle section across, and then you just lay everything else on the sides down on top of that. I started on my sides instead, and then I'm having to pick things up or cut things off. You wouldn't have to do that if you started with this middle piece. All right. So we've got all that done. Let's look at the layout of our pictures and where we're going with those. And again, because I'm printing my photos myself, I'm able to stay pretty true to the sketch. Now, I'm pretty sure I want this here. I did make my border a little bit wider because of this film strip edge. So I think that's going to go there. And I'm going to do... Yep, I'm already running into an issue right there. I'm going to do more than 2 photos here. And that's strictly because as I printed them out, I wanted to include all of the sets. These were the sets from their home in New York City. And I just really liked having the sets on there. So rather than having the 2 little tickety things there, I felt like it would be more fun to have the sets on there. Now, when I slide this under this brochure, I'm not covering up anything except some sealing there. But in doing that, that gives me some space here, and it also lets you see the bracelet again. Now, I'm looking for some embellishment to go here. When I printed this, I went ahead and printed 2 photos in one, because once their bedroom was shown on TV, people wanted their bedroom suit. So some companies started selling the Live Like Lucy bedroom suits, and that was an advertisement for that, which I thought was pretty cool. So I still have room for embellishments. I could add something here and here when we get to embellishing. I really like the look of that. You know, I think I'll just go ahead and stick it down. No reason to wait. And here again, in printing my own photos, I was able to print exactly what I wanted on here. I took tons of photos at this museum because we were here for like 6 hours that day. Just having fun, laughing, cutting up. So I didn't need to print all of those photos. It's not necessary. And printing them myself on my little home printer allowed me to get the white borders on there. It allowed me to size them the way I wanted to size them to fit. I'm going to cover up part of the bottom of that top set just so I have some red curtain showing here. Now, obviously, the red curtain is not showing a lot. You know, nobody who looked at this page would automatically think, oh, that's a red curtain behind there. But it does enhance the red of the heart there. All right, so let's pull out our pictures for this side. Again, these are pre-printed. And this was their set when they went to California. So I thought that was fun, another set picture. I had pared down a couple of pictures. This was showing how they dyed Lucy's hair, which I always thought was so funny. And then this is from the Vitamita Vegemin commercial, which I acted out while we were there. And one more photo, and this is programs that were produced by Desilu and filmed at Desilu, so that was fun. All of this really is about the TV part of it. So, I felt like my embellishments on this side could probably be more TV related, more cameras, that kind of stuff. And again, I keep thinking about the embellishments. I've not looked for them. I do know, though, that the Showtime collection had some things. I have some pieces of Showtime left, and we'll see if we can locate those when we start adding our embellishments. I am going to go ahead and stick this one up some to cover up some of that white space. We'll take Vitamita Vegemin down just a touch. My husband was looking at some of my pages I had done recently the other day. He came in my office and some were laying out, and we were talking about the variety of sizing. When you have the different sizes on your page, it seems to be really visually appealing. He liked the look of it, I think. I'm going to go over just a little bit with this. That's going to show a little of the Lucy Desi Museum. Not much, but a little. All right. So we've got all of our photos that we intend to put on here. I did want to pull one more thing because they had this little Vitamita Vegemin thing that I thought was so funny, and it had the script on it, and you could hold it and act like you were doing this. I thought that was hilarious. So instead of all of these little ticket embellishments down through here, I'm going to add my Vitamita Vegemin bottle on there somewhere. Maybe even wonky right there, since that's what I was doing. But that does give me room still for some of this. Now, in looking at it, I don't have these here, but I did develop a couple of pictures into this tickety shape, and I like that. I did use my my 2-in-1 corner rounder, and I'm going to show you how to make one of those ticket things in just a second. But I do want to kind of jag the edges of these just a little bit, I think, to make it look more tickety. I'm going to use the decal blade to jag the edges of that just a little bit. And when I looked at this sketch, my first thought was, oh, that's perfect. It looks like a little ticket. You know what? I don't like the decal blade on that. So let's try the pinking blade on our ticket. I tried the decal blade, didn't like it. Oh yeah, that one looks a lot better. That's the pinking blade. And I just ran it right along the edge there. This one is a lot tighter because of the way I developed it. And you know what? Maybe I don't want to mess with that one. Let's leave that one as is for now. And see where we're going to get all these things on here. Now, this Legacy of Laughter, I felt like was sort of a title. But if I include it here, I'm going to knock out a large part of that. The set. If I include it here, I'm not really knocking out a lot except where it says the Lucy Desi Museum right there. So I could include that here. This one, if you notice the sketch, all of these go sideways. Mine is obviously not going to go sideways here. And I'm all right with that. Maybe we should put that one there. They have them going every which way. Kind of like that. Still having a problem with this one, but I did want to include this. And maybe I need to make it not a ticket. Maybe it just needs to be a small photo right there, because this shows some of the awards that Lucy won. And I think that's what we'll do. You know, sometimes the design elements just don't work with your pictures. It's okay. Just back up and reboot. There we go. Perfect in that space. So we just need to make us a few more little ticket stubs to kind of finish out that page over there. I'm going to center this kind of in my space I've got going right here. I am going to go ahead and stick that one down. going to stick this Vitamita Vegemin thing down because I do want to work around that. Okay. All right. So let's make a couple of more tickets here. So in making our tickets, I decided to go with a black and then a kind of a mottledy grayish white. I need to grab my sketchbook one more time because we're looking at sizing. The outside of this is 2.5 by 4. And I'm going to cut that using this paper because I need the contrast on here. I need to go back to my straight blade for this. And I'm just going to do the 2.5 this direction because I only need a couple of tickets. Maybe I could fit 3 in there, but maybe not. We'll see. That's going to be the back part of it, which means I need the black to be just a touch smaller than that. And to do that, I think I'm going to go 2 1/4 by 3 3/4. And that should make it just a hair smaller. Not a lot. We don't want a great big difference. And I didn't see that measurement on the sketch, so we're going to play with it. Now with this 2-way corner rounder, this end makes the notch, and that's where I'm going. If you put it in the regular way, it makes the corner part, the rounder part, but I wanted my little notches here. And let's go ahead and notch our background. The notches should work out about the same. I did notice in playing with this, you need to be sure that you get each side against the edge of the corner rounder. It's really easy when you're putting it in to lean one way or the other. Make sure you get those in evenly. Those notches do pop out, so you have to catch them. Yeah, that's pretty cute. Yes, I flipped that cardstock over to tape it. Some of you commented that you did the same thing. I think it's just such a habit that we have of flipping things over to tape them. We do it even with things that don't matter. I can stick that ticket underneath. If I do 2 more, I think that may get too busy over there. This is a really busy layout anyway. Lots going on it. But I've been excited to do this one because I immediately, when I saw the tickets, thought of the trip to this museum. One of my friends asked me at a retreat recently, so when you take pictures, do you automatically know what papers you're going to use? Not always, but a lot of times as soon as I see a sketch or I see the pictures, something pops into my head. Like with this, the Showtime immediately popped into my head. All right. I think 3 is going to be enough on this page, particularly when parts of it are going to be covered anyway. I do want to make the jaggedy edges on here. So I'm going to go back to that pinking blade again. Is that a necessary step? No, but for me, I just think it makes it look more tickety. That's kind of fun. And I could have left the white a little bit longer so that that would be more even, but I think it's all right. I'm going to switch that blade out because as sure as I don't, I'll cut something with the pinking that I don't intend to cut. All right, so look how cute this is. Now, I know most of you have not been to the Desi Lucy Museum, probably. You may not have pictures that look like this, but let's think about how you could use this. Kids, grandkids in school plays, anything that you go to that has tickets is perfect. I mean, Disney World, how many of you do Disney World? So I think anything that has a ticket would work well for this layout. The original layout in the sketchbook was from a zoo trip. So the zoo is perfect. All right, we're at a point now that we're ready to add embellishments. So let me grab my embellishments and see what we can come up with. All right, so I started looking at embellishments, and I pulled some things from the Showtime collection, and I feel like these are going to be appropriate for this page. My initial thought was to keep things more in the black and white, but I think this color really pulls out the color in the brochure. So I'm pleased with that. Now, one thing that I do need to grab, because all of these are stickers, is my new anti-stick powder. So I'm going to be using my anti-stick powder and my silicone mat. I showed this powder on another video, but boy, is it great for stickers when you don't want them to be sticky any longer. This did sell out very quickly from Creative Memories, but my understanding is that it was kind of a test market to see how well it went. Looks like it went very well, so hopefully that's something that will be coming back in the near future. Fortunately, I did over order on this because you know how I love to use stickers as embellishments. So I've got a little stash of this, and I'm real excited about that. And you can see the powdery stuff getting on the silicone mat. I don't think it's going to hurt my mat at all. I don't think it's going to hurt it when I use it for the repositionable tape. So that's not really a big problem to me. And let's pull some foam squares. Now, when I look, I don't feel like there needs to be any embellishment over there, except maybe something right here. And I'm not sure exactly what to put there. I love this 3-2-1, but to put it there, I'm going to cover up part of the other picture. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. The award could go there. Yeah, the color is good. Let's do that. Although I've got my awards way over there, I think this is okay. I mean, it is a 2-page spread. It all ties together. And, oh, look, there's the words Emmy Awards and her other awards right there. So, perfect place to add that with some foam squares. That's right on the side of that picture that I developed. This page is done. That's a very, very busy page, but I'm okay with it. I think I want this 3-2-1 kind of hanging off here. Now, the good thing is, because we use that anti-stick powder, this is not sticky all over the place anymore. So I can add it without fear of the edges laying down. I do think for size, it really needs to go down here. And we could add that. I'm not having to use as large of the foam squares either. And we could add the lights here and here, since that was from one of the commercials that was filmed on the show. I just feel like it all is tying in together. It makes me really excited. Now, I think the only thing that I don't like at this point is this stark black here. And we need to figure out a way to kind of make that not so standy-outy, although that's not really a word. And I think I'm going to do that by seeing if I've got some little bitty stars that I can add in there. I think that would be appropriate. Or even little hearts would be good, since it's I Love Lucy. So let me check about those. I did want to show this very quickly. This is where I keep a lot of my generic embellishments. These are sticker sheets that I ordered off of Amazon. And you can just put your stickers directly on them. And then when you're ready to use them, they just peel right off. So I have this section of hearts. I also have some stars. Not nearly as many stars. And I'm looking at the colors. I could pull these little acrylic stars and some white ones in there. I think I'll go with the stars on this. And I just pull them straight off that little sticker sheet. And they work beautifully. I think I want to add I've got a bigger one right there with some gold in it, which pulls the colors we've been working with. And then a smaller one with the gold. I'm not trying to make it necessarily matchy-matchy, but I am trying to make sure that I'm not too heavy on one and too light on another. And we'll throw in some of those mustard colored ones. This little book has been a lifesaver for me because I had so many embellishments I wasn't using because when the time came I couldn't find them or was too lazy to look for them. This has really helped me utilize some of those leftover embellishments more effectively. I'll stick that right in there. All right, look what a difference it made adding those. All right, so these 2 pages are finished. Remember, this is page 100 in our sketchbook. It was a 2-page spread. We did it as a 2-page spread, stayed pretty true to the elements of this sketch, and I am very pleased with it. I love it. So, until I see you next time, happy scrapping.